Picture a sleepy Florida suburb where palm trees sway in the humid breeze and the sun bakes the asphalt to a shimmer. It's August 2024, and the cul-de-sac of Palmetto Grove, 15 miles south of Tampa, feels like a postcard. Kids on scooters, sprinklers hissing, and neighbors swapping small talk over picket fences. At the end of the street, in a modest one-story ranch house with faded yellow siding, lives Henry Walsh, a 52-year-old retiree who keeps to himself. He's the guy you barely notice, mows his lawn at dawn, waves politely, but never lingers for a chat. His garage door is always down, his blinds drawn tight. Most folks in Palmetto Grove figure he's just shy, maybe a widower, but no one really knows him. That is, until a nosy neighbor's tip brings Hillsborough County deputies to his doorstep, their cruisers parked 20 feet from his neatly trimmed hedges. A routine welfare check spirals into something darker when they spot a 5-foot-tall safe bolted to the garage floor, locked tight with the combination dial. When detectives crack it open, under the dim flicker of a single bulb, they find a chilling secret. Stacks of forged documents, passports, driver's licenses, social security cards, all tied to a name that isn't Henry's. This quiet neighbor has been living a lie for decades, hiding a stolen identity and a past that will make your skin crawl. He was your quiet neighbor, or so you thought. What's the darkest secret you've uncovered? Drop it in the comments, and let's dive into this Florida nightmare. Henry Walsh, or so he called himself, moved to Palmetto Grove 5 years ago, blending into the rhythm of suburban life like a shadow. At 5 feet 10 inches, with thinning gray hair and a slight limp, he seemed harmless. Just another retiree sipping coffee on his porch at sunrise. He told neighbors he'd worked as a bank clerk in Ohio, retired early, and moved to Florida for the warm weather. His stories were vague but polite. No family photos, no visitors, just a quiet routine of gardening and reading paperbacks. But little things stood out. Mrs. Carter, a 65-year-old retiree living 50 feet across the street, noticed Henry never got mail. No bills, no junk, nothing. Another neighbor, Tom, a 40-year-old mechanic 100 feet down the cul-de-sac, swore he heard drilling from Henry's garage late at night, sometimes past midnight. The tip came from Tom's wife, Laura, who'd seen Henry unloading heavy boxes from a van under cover of darkness 30 feet from his driveway. Uneasy, she called the sheriff's office, worried about something off. Detective Sarah Klein, a 15-year veteran with a knack for unraveling lies, led the investigation. Standing 5 feet 7 inches, she knocked on Henry's door, expecting a quick check. Henry answered, his smile tight, claiming he was fine, just private. But Klein's gut told her otherwise. A warrant got them into the garage, a 20 by 15-foot space cluttered with tools and paint cans. The safe, 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide, was an anomaly. Bolted down, industrial grade, out of place in a retiree's home. It took a locksmith 2 hours to crack it, 10 miles from the station at a Tampa lock shop. Inside were forged IDs, bank records, and a birth certificate for a James Carter, born in 1970, not Henry Walsh. A faded photo showed a younger Henry with a man who looked eerily similar, both smiling in front of a Chicago diner. Was Henry really James? Or was he hiding something worse? Suspicion also fell on Laura's brother, Mike, a 42-year-old drifter who'd crashed at her house 100 feet away and asked odd questions about Henry. As Klein's team traced the documents, a lead 200 miles away in Orlando would blow the case wide open. Curious? Keep watching, because this neighbor's secret is darker than you think. Have you ever doubted someone's identity? Share your story below, and let's unravel this mystery. The garage was a dim, humid cave, the air heavy with the smell of motor oil and rust. Hillsborough County detectives, their flashlights slicing through the shadows, surrounded the 5-foot safe as the locksmith's tools whined against the lock. When it finally popped open, the contents sent a chill through the room. A dozen passports with different names, but Henry's face, driver's licenses from Ohio, Illinois, and Nevada, and social security cards tied to James Carter and others. Buried deeper were bank statements showing transfers to offshore accounts, totaling $200,000.
and a yellowed newspaper clipping from 1995 about a missing Chicago accountant named James Carter, last seen 300 miles from Palmetto Grove. The photo in the clipping matched the one in the safe. Two men, one Henry, one James, outside a diner. Detective Klein, back at the Tampa station, 15 miles away, pieced it together. Henry wasn't Henry. He'd been living as James Carter for nearly 30 years. But why? And where was the real James? Klein brought Henry in, his hands cuffed in a stark interrogation room. "I'm Henry Walsh," he insisted, his voice steady but his eyes darting. He claimed the documents were old paperwork, nothing more. But Klein spotted a lie. His limp vanished when he thought no one was watching. A search of Henry's house, 15 miles from Tampa's downtown, turned up a hidden burner phone under a floorboard, its call log showing late-night calls to a number in Orlando, 200 miles away. Who was he talking to? And why hide it? Suspicion swirled around Mike, Laura's drifter brother, who'd been asking about Henry's habits. When he left the house, what he drove. Mike, 42, had a rap sheet for fraud, and neighbors saw him skulking near Henry's fence 50 feet from the ranch house, late at night. Had Mike sniffed out Henry's secret? Klein's team dug into James Carter's disappearance. In 1995, James, a 25-year-old accountant, vanished from Chicago after withdrawing $50,000 from his bank, 300 miles from where Henry claimed to have worked. A witness from the diner, now 70 and living 100 miles away in Miami, remembered James arguing with a man matching Henry's description, same height, same build, days before he disappeared. Henry's bank records showed odd deposits, $5,000 here, $10,000 there, funneled through shell accounts. Was he stealing more than an identity? The burner phone led to a dead-end address in Orlando, a vacant lot 200 miles away, but a second search of the garage uncovered a locked diary, its pages filled with cryptic entries. "James trusted me. Too easy." Was this a confession? Klein ordered a deeper dive into Henry's past, pulling records from Ohio, where he claimed to have lived. A tip from a retired Chicago cop 300 miles away would turn the case upside down. Who's really behind this lie? Henry, Mike, or someone else? Drop your guess in the comments because this gets wilder. The Tampa station, 15 miles from Palmetto Grove, was a hive of tension as Detective Klein unraveled the threads. The diary from Henry's garage was a window into a fractured mind. James thought he could outsmart me. He was wrong. Entries dated back to 1995, detailing a plan to start over after a betrayal. Klein's team traced the Orlando number to a former associate, Ellen, a 55-year-old bookkeeper living 200 miles away who'd worked with James Carter in Chicago. Ellen, questioned at her condo, revealed a bombshell. Henry was Robert Klein, James's cousin, who'd vanished the same week James did. Robert had been jealous of James's success, a rising accountant with a fiancée, a house, a life Robert coveted. In 1995, Robert lured James to a diner 300 miles from Palmetto Grove, drugged his drink, and took his wallet, IDs, and life. James's body, Ellen hinted, was buried in a forest 50 miles from Chicago, though she swore she only overheard Robert's drunken confession years later. Klein's team found no body, but dental records from a John Doe dug up 50 miles from Chicago in 1996 matched James Carter. Mike, the drifter, was a red herring. His questions about Henry were curiosity, not conspiracy. He'd suspected Henry was dodging taxes. The offshore accounts were Robert's, built from years of siphoning James's savings, $200,000 in total. The safe was his insurance, locking away proof of his stolen life. Robert's arrest hit Palmetto Grove like a storm, charged with identity theft, fraud, and suspected murder. Tabloids screamed, "Florida's fake neighbor," and "safe of secrets," feeding the suburbs shock. James's fiancée, now 55 and living 100 miles away in Miami, started a fraud awareness campaign in his memory. Palmetto Grove's quiet streets turned wary, neighbors eyeing each other's secrets. This story, inspired by real identity theft cases but spun with fiction, warns that deception can hide behind the quietest doors. Have you ever doubted someone's identity? Share below. And if this shook you, smash that like, subscribe, and share. More confessions are coming to keep you up at night.